attack Q this, attack Q that. I just want to get some barbecue. Fresh and buds now.
Fresh and
All right, folks, welcome back to yet another episode of Fresh and Buds. I'm your host, Tommy Fresh. You are all my buds. It is episode 249. We have the Orc Knight himself, Mr. Jesse Harper, on the show, back again, this time with some new stuff to talk about. I am excited to talk about, but how you doing? First of all, welcome back to the show. What's new?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me back, Tommy. As far as what's new, I mean, I started a channel of my own not too long ago that you guest starred on, and it was a lot of fun. And then I've just been playing Silver Age because it seems like it's all the events in my area right now. And then just kind of waiting for the new set to come out, brew some Riptide, brew some Ziggy. You know, do whatever I feel like in any given moment.
That's the nice thing about being a completely autonomous adult. We can just do whatever we want, including creating a YouTube channel, which I did a long time ago. You just did. We'll talk about it. But yeah, I'm excited for some new Riptide stuff. We're going to be talking about a little bit how we think Riptide's going to be faring right now, going into a new set, because things always change. It is kind of chock full of arcane, which doesn't always sound the best, but it could be worse, I guess. It could be all like gravies and dromize or something, but we will see how we feel about it. But let's get into your channel. What was the catalyst? Why did you decide I'm doing it? And tell us what the concept is for those who might be curious and want to hop over and watch some great episodes, mostly the one with me in it.
Well, so I guess I'll start with I've been wanting to do some sort of content creation since I first got into the game during Monarch. And it seemed like every time I wanted to do this and I wanted a co-host of some kind or to do it with, you know, the preferred players in my play group that I was always testing with, it seemed like no one could ever coordinate schedules or people weren't as involved or dedicated to doing it. So it felt like I was doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And then fast forward to moving back to New England after my active duty service was over, I joined Team Salt the Wound and again went and said, hey, I would like to start doing some sort of content creation. I would like you guys to do it with me. I think we have a lot to offer. This is right after Jacob Shaker made second place at US Nats with Gravy Bones. And we kind of got everything rolling. We recorded a couple episodes. There were some technical difficulties on my end, some commitment and timeshare things on other people's ends, and it just kind of never really got off the ground. So fast forward to now, I went on short-term disability from my company because of some medical stuff that I've been recently diagnosed with. And I said, you know, what better time than now? I have the time. I'm just going to do it myself. And if people don't watch, that's fine. I'm just going to do it because I want to do it.
Well, listen, I mean, as somebody who went at it alone as well, it's daunting, right? As I'm sure you know, but it you do have all the power. You have all the, it's on your time for the most part. And, you know, you're getting guests like I do, but, you know, you can work around it. That's the beautiful thing about it. And I think you're doing a great job so far. So I'm glad that you started because, you know, just more content's great for the game. And obviously with, you know, a bud is even more exciting. What is the concept here?
So I kind of based the concept off of you, if I'm being honest with you. So I kind of liked the sort of informal getting on with people in the space and chatting about the game because that's all I really wanted to do from the beginning anyway. I just wanted to, turn the cameras on, turn the mics on, and just yap about Fab for anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half and just go.
Yeah.
Uh, um, I would like to eventually get some more like gameplay oriented stuff on the channel. It's just a matter of finding the time and then like parsing games that I think are good quality and with heroes that people are interested in. Because as much as I would love to just mono ship Riptide every day, I think that that might get a little monotonous for some folk, and I would like to kind of showcase the diverse array of heroes that Fab has to offer because they're all kind of unique in their own way, and they all do something powerful once it gets going.
Yeah, no doubt. And like that is the toughest thing about gameplay is like what kind of gameplay are you putting out? Personally, I'm working on a gameplay thing right now. I have a ton of editing to do, but luckily this gameplay I'm working on is based around mostly me losing. So like that's pretty cool. And it's for scientific reasons, not so much for people to learn. It's more it's more going to be a little wacky and weird. I'll be recording some more tonight, but that's cool. I really enjoyed going on as well, and it was kind of like this vibe right now, just chatting. You're just like, hey, let's talk about some Riptide, and I'm like, boy howdy, I would love to talk about some Riptide. And you made the mistake of letting me talk about Riptide because I have a lot to say. Like I have a lot to say about Riptide, but like not a lot of substance there, I think, or maybe it's just like all vibes for me. But I still love that hero. It's just so much fun.
Well, I think the biggest thing about Riptide is that you can kind of play that hero any way you want. Like there's 6 different archetypes to the deck like we have talked about previously. And now with some of the new cards, maybe some of those archetypes get a little more powerful, come to the forefront a little more. And Riptide is just kind of the vibes hero, if I'm being honest. It's like, all right, what are you doing to me? Are you going 3 arrows wide? Am I going to sit here and run into your traps for an hour? What's the game plan here? What are you doing to me so I know what I'm supposed to do to you?
Yeah, in a lot of ways, it does feel like I don't know if it's truly this, but like the old school Katsu back in like the Monarch days or prior. But like when I got into the game, when you didn't know if it was like full combo or they were turtling or anything like that, and you kind of. And even like when they presented their equipment, you didn't really know. At least with Riptide, you know exactly what's going on when the equipment, or for the most part, when the equipment, or at least the bow, is presented.
Yeah,
like,
the bow is probably the biggest telltale sign of what's going on here.
Yeah, but now the future of the channel. You mentioned you want to do some gameplay, figure out what that is. I'm sure some people would love to see some Riptide stuff, but like looking at. Like Omen's coming out. You've mentioned your hype about Ziggy. I know you just did an episode with Kevin Smurf Murphy. Is that something that you'd like to get into? Because Ziggy, there's a lot of hype around them. I mean, they're just like a exciting hero. We get a armory deck. I haven't watched the gameplay of the armory deck yet because I was working when it came out. But how are we feeling about Ziggy?
I'm very excited about Ziggy. Ziggy's the first illusionist that kind of speaks to me, in a way that really gets the gears turning in my head. Um, so another attack action based illusionist is definitely something I wanted. I didn't really find that with, Dromai or Enigma, a little bit with Prism, but then there was the like Tome of Divinity, Archangel, Arclight Sentinel loop that didn't really speak to me, and I was like, ah, it seems very one dimensional. The deck's obviously very different now that Tome's gone, and there's a lot more micro decisions throughout the course of the game in that deck now. But at this point, I've kind of already written off. It's like, yeah, cool, but give me this other one. I want to solve the puzzle. I want to put the cards together, see all the new things. And Prism's on her way out, so.
Yeah. I'm sure Kevin's sweating. So, that is, yeah, it is kind of neat. Like, I agree. Like, you know, I think probably I'm going to say I'm not surprised to see Ziggy be a little bit more on the attack action side of things, especially because it seemed like to me when Gravy was released that they kind of had this opportunity to like lean into Necromancer being a little bit more of the board state hero. And, you know, we've seen how powerful Illusionist could be with a board state. And like, yeah, we could see how powerful Gravy could be with the board state as well. But there's some real cost to that. And like, you know, it took a couple bans to get him in the right spot. But I like where Ziggy's going. But the question is, you know, you just had Kevin on, right? You've had quite a few great players, some of the best players in the world on your show so far. Which is, I don't know if we've said, the Tome of the Orc Knight is your channel. Yes. Which is the best episode that you've put out?
Oh, you can't put me on the spot like that. I think all my episodes are the best. You know, it's the thing I wanted to do, the channel I wanted to make, content I wanted to put out with the people I wanted there. You know, so to pick a favorite is kind of hard. Now, if you ask me about a favorite thumbnail, I think Tommy Turkey still is my favorite one.
There we go. I'll take it. Good old Tommy Turkey. Now, let's shift over to the gameplay side because, you know, last time you were on, you qualified for, was that Singapore with Riptide?
I don't know if it was Singapore. I know last time I was on, I had qualified for a Pro Tour of some kind with Riptide.
Yeah.
I do not remember which one it is at this point. Unfortunately, part of that medical diagnosis I mentioned earlier kind of makes my memory, you know, poo. So
yeah, no, it's all good. It was either, I mean, it had to have been either Singapore. It might have been. Did you qualify for London? Well, maybe it was. Everybody go back to that video, give it a listen, and let us know in the comments. But anyway, you have some prowess. Not even some. You have prowess as a player. And
Thanks.
We got some big events coming up. No problem. Minnesota, Vegas, and beyond. What are your plans as a player for the big events coming up?
So, given my situation right now and that my work schedule is kind of fluid and non-existent, I kind of get to do what I want. I have the resources to go to Nats, even though I'm not playing in the main event, so I'm probably going to do that. I'm just to go play the calling. And then, you know, if I qualify for the showdown, then so be it. But ideally not the plan. And then I did queue for Vegas off of the Silver Age PQ, my first one that happened, and I won on Briar. So until that deck goes away, that's my Silver Age deck of choice. Scam Briar is broken, and I will hear no backtalk.
Well, that is the funny thing about Silver Age is, you know, we chat from time to time, right? Just I would say I chat with you about just like competitive stuff the most outside of the podcast, right? And you came to me and you're like, I got something cool going on with Briar and Silver Age. And I'm like, what is it? And you know, it just is kind of cool in that way that Silver Age is that format where like it feels like you can do, because like you have to find the little itty bitty like points of advantages in that format where like if you find something, you're like, this could be just enough to win like the mirror or against like KO or something like that. Or now it'd be, I guess, Ira is the best deck, which, I mean, we'll see. Ira's probably not even going to be here after a couple weeks, but
yeah. I hope not.
Yeah, but it's very cool. And so you're liking Silver Age. Obviously, you said a lot of your tournaments nearby are Silver Age, but I'm assuming you're enjoying it.
I'm enjoying playing the Briar deck, if that makes sense. I'm
Okay.
not a big Silver Age enjoyer, but I do like playing the deck that my team and I put together and developed, and then we saw other players in the space pick up, and now has kind of become a thing, and has been top 8 events all over the world. So just cool to see the evolution of that deck, and I like playing the deck for kind of that reason. But Silver Age itself, um, how do I put this? It's not my cup of tea. It feels very different from the 20 health format that I liked, which was Blitz.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost feels more restrictive because of the smaller card pool of the things that you're allowed to do and how you're allowed to be creative. And the decks that are typically good in this format are like in a couple camps. One being the I don't care what you're doing, I'm just going to send as much damage at your face as I possibly can. The other being I don't care what you're doing, I'm just going to put a bunch of four blocks in my deck and you're going to have to figure out how to kill me. And then the kind of um like I'm going to do one of those game plans for the first half of the game and then switch into the other one later
Mm-hmm.
and just be kind of that like mid-rangey value enter sleep phase kind of style deck. So
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, like I've played the format, and like I do like that every once in a while there are a few like good just like good fun decks that will pop up, like Scurv or I mean, I played a lot of Fang during the PQ season, and I thought that was a really fun deck because you had to change the way you play Fang because you just can't play it like you play in CC, and I thought that was really interesting. But once it kind of gets solved, it kind of gets a little wishy-washy, like in terms of like, yeah, I can't really bring the super fun deck to everything, but I'm hoping, and here's my hope with the format, and I'm going to pass it on to you to see if you agree, but like that with the votes, obviously that we're going to have the first vote and then there's going to be bans, whatever, chains coming back. I don't know what that means, but I'm hoping that with all of that considered, the design and development of the game going forward is going to give us a lot cooler rares and keywords, I think, probably, and rares and commons, but like mostly like the rares are going to be like the powerful things that we're going to be able to do in that format that can shift us out of that like straight triangle all the time, right? And it's an opportunity for LSS. We'll see if they seize it, but that is my hope with the format, like in terms of like how they can approach it going forward, I think.
yeah, I think my hope for the format is that the ban list just essentially doubles in length for
Mm.
cards not played in the format, and that it opens up design space for maybe some better designed cards for specifically the Silver Age format. I thought Companion of Wraith was a really good start. There are cards in the format that I don't really think should still be there. I think I've said it on my AGE interview. I think I've said it on my channel, and I guess I'm saying it on your channel, but I don't think Sigil of Suffering should be in the format. I think that's a
Oh, yeah.
card that uh, is probably just too much of a fork in a 20 life format for a lot of the decks. It basically means you have to be a very specific type of deck in order to not start the game at like 14 into the rune blades. So I think that card needs to go. I would like to see maybe something taken out of the dash aggro decks that have been floating around. That deck can be pretty polarizing, like straight up from the die roll. So if you're unfortunately having to go first into that deck and they're allowed to block, you're like, well, I guess. And then they can like 4 card 16 you on the crackback just on turn 1, and you're like, all right, well, this is how this game's gonna go. I guess I'll do my best. So
Yeah. Well, that's the nice thing. It's 20 health, so it can end and you go to the next game as soon as possible after things don't go your way. But yeah, I could see that as well. I definitely think that the ban list, although welcomed, the most recent one, definitely could have hit a few more things. I'd be shocked if Sigil Suffering sticks around. Shocked. I think shock's fine, but depending on what it's attached to. But I think I'd be shocked if Sigil Suffering sticks around with Briar's probably gonna leave, but Chain's coming back, and that's just and we have a new Aurora. I don't know if she's necessarily better than old Aurora is in Silver Age, but I haven't. I mean, I would assume not, because it felt like old Aurora is just a little bit easier to get going. But maybe we'll see something. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into it, but yeah, I'm with you. More cards banned. Make you use. I want to see people use worse cards and make them look cool. Like when I'm watching the format, if that makes sense. I want to see rifting attacked with. Okay. And not only attacked with, and feared. Okay. I want to see just oh no, they're on rifting combo Scurv. What am I going to do? So
that would be cool.
That would be awesome, right? I mean, just let's be real. But what would be the funniest thing to do? Rifting, Scurv. Sure, yeah, you can pummel it, but then what do you play off of it? Starting Stake, or something like that. Is that the one that just creates a gold?
It is the one that just creates a gold. It's got the big gentleman with the very large beard that you can see on the Olympia alt art for Vegas when he's standing there, those cufflinks and everything. So
very, very cool. Now let's do the actual last fresh faves for Compendium of Wraith, the set of all time. You're the last one. I'm assuming, since I think this weekend is Prague, that I will be doing the set review next week, which thank God I have a day off from work next week for a holiday. So, and I got to start resting my voice as soon as this episode's over. But we will be having fun next week, and it'll be episode 250, which is crazy. So pretty wild. But Jesse Harper, which hero got the coolest stuff in Compendium of Wraith?
Which hero got the coolest stuff, or which hero got the best stuff?
You can answer however you want.
I'm going to go ahead and say that the hero that probably got the coolest stuff out of Compendium, I would say, is most likely Vincent in CC.
Yeah. It changed that deck to a certain extent that it's, I think, still very feared in the format.
Yeah, Deep Recess is insane. Grimoire of the Fell Song is insane. Decks are playing Feasting Carcass, I think's the name of the card now. We saw Brody Spurlock top 8 in Sao Paulo with it. And then we saw another gentleman from Brazil get second place in the same tournament with Vincent. A little bit of a different list, but these Compendium of Wraith cards have really given that deck a facelift.
Yeah, they really have, and it's probably been one of the most common answers, I think, if I look back over this season. But next question is always funny. 3 weapons. Which one was the best? Shield Beater, Savage Claw, or the bow that I don't even want to know the name of that bow. Long draw bow? Long something?
We have the power of the Google machine.
I know, but it's not. It should not be the answer, I would say.
Oh, it should not be the answer? Well, now you know my answer. It is the Farflight Longbow.
Oh, yes.
And I'm going to say that is the best weapon in the set, because not only am I trolling you, but there's a whole discord of ranger folk out there that will also not like this answer.
Well, I'm sorry to say they're not listening because they all quit the game because we didn't get a master pack. But that's whatever. Hey, listen, it's the last one. Somebody's got to answer that one. Nobody answered that one. But what was your favorite equipment? We did get a lot of cool equipment in this set.
Yeah, there was a lot of very interesting equipment. I think my favorite designed equipment, though, has to be the Riptide chests. Not even the Riptide chest. Any Ranger in Silver Age can play them, but
the trap
Riptide
chest
seems like the most natural home for all of them. So I really liked that design in general. It felt very strange to me for it to be in the chest slot. I was almost wondering if it was like if they had originally designed like a set of quivers that were like that, but then the quiver slot was just like entirely too strong, so they had to move it somewhere else. I also like to think of the idea as like what's his name from King of the Hill? He's like pocket sand, but instead of sand, it's like a blood rot token,
Oh my god. Quivers would have been so much better. It would have been like they would have been CC playable. I mean, like, I guess they're borderline CC playable, but like they would have been truly CC playable. Yeah, that would have been really cool. Also, thinking about them being trap chests, should they have just been called mimics? Is a question for the design team. But anyway, moving on. What was your favorite class and/or talent card from the set?
Oh, favorite class and/or talent card is 100% Sigil of Volterus. That card has brought me infinite joy.
Yeah, I alluded to it earlier.
From like 6th life.
Oh man, you were doing some nasty stuff with that card.
Yeah. Yep. You can see this card kind of in action all across the Pro Tour streams, the Calling Shanghai, and then if you want to go back even farther to my match at AGE New England, where I'm paired against my local Neeraj, and he's on Ira, and then I do actually kill him with the Sigil of Volterus combo on screen. So
check it out.
It's a good time.
Now, what about generic? What was your favorite generic card? Bonus points if it blocks for 2.
Favorite generic bonus card out of Compendium of Wraith? That's a tough one.
It was pretty light, I would say, on the generics.
Yeah, there weren't a whole lot of... It didn't feel like there were a whole lot of generics in that set because everything was kind of scattered amongst all the what do you call it? The heroes.
Yeah. I will say, just as like kind of wrapping up Compendium of Wraith, I think so far I've had 3 generics from that set played against me. First one's obvious, Rockyard Rodeo, probably the most playable, right? For what it does. The next was the one that removes the alchemy one that removes energy counters and creates gold. That was played against me.
Oh, yeah. That one's cool.
That one is cool. Definitely also like the implications of Alchemist being in the game is also really cool with that. And then the third one was the one where the dude's like in the water and it's like a D-react that gives it, it's blocks for 0 but gives it -3 or something.
Oh, Drag Down, I think
Drag
is the
Under?
name of that one.
Or something like that. Drag Down, Drag Under. Yeah. Those are the 3 that have been played against me so far.
Okay. So I can't remember the name of the card, so give me a second here. But I really like Ransack and Raise for the implications.
Oh, yeah.
You can just blow up somebody's library.
Oh, yeah.
Just full terrorist. Just you don't get this anymore. I don't have any yellows in my deck, but it doesn't matter.
We've reached Alexandria, and this library cannot stay around. No, that's a good one. That's a good one. Now, I forget when I started asking favorite token. I don't think it was the first time around. But what is your favorite token in the game?
Favorite token in the game or out of pen?
Pen is weird because it's like a little bit of everything. I think like technically you can create like a lot of tokens out of pen.
Sure, yeah. I think my favorite token will and always will be a rune chant token.
Oh, all right. I mean, they're iconic. They really are.
As much as I want to say bait, I like killing my opponent more than I like playing the fish. So
the listeners and viewers will see that the title of this episode is a nod at Mystery Science Theater 3000, and it is if you've ever watched that show, this is Riptide, the Hands of Bait. So, but yeah, no, bait's sick. But yeah, Rune Chant's iconic. It's hard to argue with it, I will say. Now, did Compendium of Wraith change your perception of the greatest set of all time?
Yes and no. But I will say that I think Compendium of Wraith really put into perspective how far we've come, as far as like if we look at some of the other supplemental sets of the past, like going back to the first one, like Crucible, to now where we're at, where this premium supplemental set is kind of breathing life into an entirely new format. I think that I'm gonna go with Crucible as my new GOAT set overall.
It was pretty legit. So it gave us Mandible Claw, and then it was taken away from us.
Yeah, but you don't need those. Eugene C. was unleashed upon the world. He was finally free from Mandible Claw prison.
With one Savage Claw and a Ball Breaker. It was sick. It was very sick. I will admit. But if you're just looking in a vacuum, you say Crucible gave us Mandible Claw and Compendium gave us Savage Claw. You just have to give it to Crucible. You just do. Now, let's talk about some Riptide.
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Riptide, a hero. As we said earlier, you can play a lot of different versions of it, archetypes of Riptide. You don't really know what you're going to get until the cards start falling on the table. And he's awesome. I had a bud in the Discord today. Shout out Turtle Matern, say, finally started playing some Riptide and paper, and man, traps are like crack. And like, yes, they are. Like, it just feels so good to trigger a trap. And I think it's the best thing about Riptide. Obviously the loading is really neat, but getting those traps and the little bonuses will always feel good. Now, that being said, where do you think Riptide stands in the game right now? Because I think last time we talked, there were certainly more wizards about, and I always felt like wizard was a tough situation, at least for the way I play Riptide. But wizards just in general, like even if you want to go like red line, you don't really have the resources to pitch into arcane, yada yada yada. What are you thinking right now?
I think Riptide is essentially still stuck, a format and a half behind from the rest of the casts of Flesh and Blood.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I do think Riptide is still the best anti-meta hero that you could play, especially whenever Assassin's prevalent. You have a lot of toolbox responses to the Assassin game plan. Where Riptide really starts to fall off is with, like you said, those heavy arcane damage wizards, and to an extent Guardian. Like Victor is still a very tough matchup.
Mm-hmm.
All the Guardians can be tough. You just have to be on the build that is able to have a game into them, and certain builds of Riptide just are pretty much go get lunch into Guardian, and then other builds are go get lunch into Wizard. And then if you build to beat those two decks, then your Assassin matchup kind of gets worse overall because you're making concessions to trying to beat those decks with cards that are not necessarily good into Assassin, and you still have to present a legally playable 60 cards. So I think he's behind. I would like to see few more meaningful upgrades, but I am willing to be patient because there are plenty of interesting heroes on the horizon. But for me personally, Riptide is kind of shelved right now.
Interesting. I mean, like, I understand that because he is a deck right now. It's like hard for a deck like Riptide to be top of the game, right? Because I think relatively easy to target in ways, and to develop game plans around. He is, perfect for lurking, as his name says. Like,
Yes.
you gotta lurk in the meta, show up, and people are like, oh god, like you see the warriors like, do I ever activate an attack reaction against them and just send 3 every turn or send 2 every turn? And it is really interesting. That's why I love the hero, because I get to be like, it's like, oh, you didn't prepare for me, but I'm prepared for you, kind of, depending on which hero you're on. But it is unfortunate to say that. I thought that maybe, like, it's funny, it's like if Osilio left, I think that there was a real chance that Riptide could feel better, right, into the meta, right? Guardians can be difficult, but like you said, if you can at least come up with a game plan, it's not 0, I think, right? And then Osilio's like, oh, wow, it's kind of like really doing well. It's one of the best decks in the format. Maybe it'll go. And then they're like, oh yeah, no, we're gonna like make Osilio bad and make a new one. and this one's more arcane, actually. Do you like playing traps against Osilio? Oh, you can't do that anymore. So, like, I mean, we're not exactly sure what new Osilio is going to look like in its final form in terms of like the most competitive version, but it's definitely looking heavier on the arcane from what I've seen. The next question is, what do you think what does Riptide really need? What does Riptide need to like get there? Is it more bait tokens?
Oh man, there are so many things I want for Riptide, so kind of narrowing it down to specifically what does he need is a tall ask, but I would like to see either aim counters expanded on and another like 2-for-6 aim counter arrow in the same design space as Murky Water, where the on hit effect is always on and the aim counter only gives you like the +1 and a keyword. I think those are the best versions of the aim counter design so far. If LSS can come up with a better one and make me eat crow on this episode, I'm all for it. Please do. And then I would like to see the quiver space kind of expanded on more, kind of what I alluded to earlier, where Quiver of Abyssal Depths has its uses. It's like good in the matches where it's very good, but it feels like it's just eating space in the deck list and not providing utility into as many matches as you would like to for putting the card there.
Mm-hmm.
Because even in the matches where you're like, oh, this card's very good, it's not like it doesn't move the needle enough percent wise to sometimes warrant an inclusion. So there are some metas where I just don't include the quiver in my deck list and just go quiverless.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is it's a tough space because, right, we have like a variety of quivers, but like not a huge variety, right? Like we have Abyssal. Abyssal is probably the one I use all the time, almost always, right? And then you have the arcane one, which is like just fine. It's just like an extra point of block sometimes, and it's just like I was playing it and I was like, I feel like this is just a waste of slot because like I'm probably losing to this wizard anyway. So like, what am I even doing? And then the rustling leaves, is that the prettiest
Quiver
one?
rustling leaves.
And like that's like cool, I guess. Like it was definitely I felt like it was better in Lexi back in the day, but I think that I see people play the the spec every once in a while, just like when they're not on trench. When they're not on trench, which, you know, folks, if you're listening and you're a spring tunic truther, you come to the wrong place. These are two trench buds right here. We love playing trench. We don't want to play tunic in that deck. And stop asking us to. Nobody's really asking us to.
Yeah.
But, you know, I had Trade Federations on the show, and Trade, you know, he's a big Spring Tunic fan. So, like, you know, that was fun. It's nice to get differing opinions on the show.
Yeah.
But now we're back to status quo.
Yeah. The other thing I think I've wanted personally, and I think every Riptide player across the world has wanted for Riptide, is an anchor.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that would be a really interesting design to put into the quiver slot and make it so that it's almost like under the trapdoor, where you get value from the traps that you've already played because you're able to convert them in some meaningful way on the anchor space itself. I know there was a kind of a fan-made design that I was working around with myself way back when. I'm sure I probably shared it with you years ago. That was basically it turned into a weapon. As long as you had a trap in your yard, you had to banish the trap from your yard, but then the power of the anchor became the defense value of the trap.
Sick.
And you couldn't use it if you've activated your bow that turn, so it kind of made like this little tension point. And like, yes, Riptide can play most turns without ever activating the bow, but there are some times where you're like, oh, if the bow of choice is Red Spine Manta, I gotta like really pick and choose when I'm activating my bow versus when I'm sending the anchor in for an attack.
Yeah, I mean, like that's a really cool design. Anchors would be sweet. When I think of an anchor, though, I would like it to be, if only there was, I mean, I guess it's their game. They can do whatever they want. Like, it's in the quiver slot, basically. Obviously, it's not a quiver. It's an anchor, but whatever. Just call it a quiver or say that it has the same rules as a quiver. I don't care. Just give it to me. But, you know, my idea lately was like, what if like, sure, it doesn't help with some matchups because it's still trap based, but like it's still neat in that you can tap it, right? Because now we have tapping in this game. Tap it, go search your deck for a trap, put it into your hand, right? And it's no go again or anything like that. You can just do it, and then it doesn't untap the turn that you play it. So like you still have to pull it back, right? Because it is an anchor. You tossed it. It's heavy. Right? We're going to make this all make sense. Maybe it does have go again. I don't know. But like kind of going to get like resources seems bad, or like seems really good, but bad for the game. I think something like that would be neat. I'd like that, you know, we're playing for the worst and take the bait. We have a lot of searching the deck, right? Let's get some more search the deck for better stuff. How about that? What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, if the community can yell and scream about Betsy not having a log for a weapon, I'm sure eventually we can scream loud enough where LSS gives us an anchor, even if it's not good.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be cool at least. But yeah, I don't know exactly what Riptide needs. I mean, maybe traps that you, like we got some traps that like kind of deal with arcane in a way, but like just more traps that deal with arcane would be nice. But we'll see. But moving on. I do want to say, as of us recording, it doesn't look like we're getting a Riptide trap toy in expansion slots, but we're getting Settle the Bill, which, to be honest, I don't think is a Riptide card. This is the pay one. I think put an arrow from your hand face up into your arsenal. It gets +3, and when it hits, destroy a card in their arsenal. Is that right?
Yeah.
How do we feel about that?
I don't like that you don't get the +3 or the effect if you don't load the arrow with the effect of the card.
Yeah.
I think that's very restrictive overall for a class that already has to jump through a bunch of hoops to just attack you in general. Not even just for Riptide, just in general, I think this card is pretty tough for Ranger. It does kind of open up some interesting play lines, though, so I'm not gonna just say that this card is bad and just talk trash on it the entire time. But it is certainly difficult to use, and the best use case that I can come up with so far is pairing it with Dreadbore and Release the Tension or Remorseless to trap somebody's D-React in their arsenal and then blow it up, essentially, like a CNC at home kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's cool, but is it something Riptide's really trying to do? I feel like this was designed for like Azalea in a way.
Maybe it could also be something that's designed for a hero that we just haven't seen yet. LSS does kind of like to do that. They like to leave breadcrumbs in earlier sets for the later sets when you go, oh, now I see why this card was made, that kind of thing. But for Riptide specifically, I don't think this is going to see a ton of play. There will be some people that will test it. There will be some people that will try to build around it, but I don't think it moves the needle on Riptide to any meaningful degree where he even like jumps a tier. I think he just kind of stays in whatever tier you already have him in. I think he's B tier. Some people are going to say he's F tier. Some people are going to say he's the same tier as Bolton. Whatever. He's not moving.
He's in my heart tier. How about that? That's where he's at. But hey, we'll see. Citadel Bill, to me, just not really a Riptide card. Now, we got 3 new heroes coming out, and then a surprise hero that's going to be in the expansion slot, which is Lexi. I'm kidding.
Shadow Lexi.
Settle the bill for Lexi. That would be pretty wild. But we'll see in 2 days, whenever Prague is, if there are any surprises. How's he looking into Ziggy, you think?
Ziggy's an interesting one. I would say of the new heroes, that matchup is probably the most interesting and becomes the most skill expressive of the two, because Ziggy has a lot of counterplay in the damage step as opposed to the reaction step. So a lot of your go again traps and effects aren't probably going to have a lot of text into Ziggy if they're playing correctly. If they are on a more aggressive, proactive build and they're playing things like Snapdragon Scalers, you can get a little bit of stuff there. But if they're playing something like Reality Refractor, then there's the potential of they swing an aura at you. You want to block with your least, at least impactful offensive thing, and sometimes you just draw traps. You can't convert that to offense anyway, so you just trap the thing, and then you take the damage, and then in the damage step they play the aura that gives go again to that aura, and then swing with the aura that they just sent at you, and you're like, okay, I guess Tar Pit Trap and Frailty Trap and those things don't really do anything in this matchup. But Ziggy does have a hard time blocking. I think it's going to feel very similar to the Enigma matchup.
Interesting.
Because a lot of the auras don't block, and the ones that do don't block well. And there is potential that if they're playing the fragment cards, that you can fatigue them. And then if they're playing a bunch of the auras, I imagine there's going to be some amount of defense reactions in the deck, so Dreadbore is going to get that extra mileage whenever you're trying to push back into them, and then things like Murkmire Grapnel become relevant again. There's that new generic that's coming out that says damage can't be prevented on it, and you can't do anything to it while it's on the stack or on the combat chain. So I think it's an interesting one, and I really think it's going to come down to who knows the matchup better is who comes out on top of that.
Mm-hmm. Which you hope is the Riptide player, right? Because the Ziggy player is not preparing for Riptide per se. But
yeah, if you're prepping for Riptide, I'm so sorry. I don't know what they've done to you in the past, but I can promise you probably don't need any reps into this hero.
Yeah. It's just you can't pair into Fresh Lord on Talishar in real life. I promise, it can't happen to you. But Yeah, no, Ziggy will be interesting. I'm excited. I'm excited to see the builds of Ziggy, but we'll see. Now, Acilio number 2. That is a scary idea for me as a Riptide player. What I've seen seems pretty good, but maybe just like going full aggro Riptide could be worth it against Acilio. Wants to play instance, etc., etc. What's your take here?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best chance you have at killing the second Acilio is going full aggro. I'm very much treating this matchup like it's Kano,
Mm-hmm.
where you just have to go as fast as possible and hope that you kill them. Anytime Acilio number 2 gets to Storm Striders you're probably dead.
Yeah.
So
That was usually
there's
the
not
case with any wizard,
like
I guess.
of the 3 heroes, this is the closest to go get yourself a milkshake, hang out, go watch your friends play their games, that kind of thing, because your game's going to be over in like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yep. I can already see it. You're like, oh, Kano's gone. Boom. Burdens is gone. Boom. Acilio number 1's going to get Volzar taken away from him. Boom. Here's another problem for you. But, it's fine. It's fine, Jesse. I'll survive. Now, Aurora number 2. I really loved, the version of Riptide I play, the first Aurora matchup, right? I love that matchup so much. It felt very favored, and it seems like also this Aurora is getting a lot of cards banned from it that were also really powerful. So what do you think is the situation with this one?
So this one's kind of interesting. So I like this matchup for my version of Riptide as well. I typically play the more mid-rangey pivot to either more aggro or fatigue, depending on the format. I like the flexibility of that archetype. But Runeblade traditionally, as far as the greater Fab player base has commented on it, is very fatigable with the singular arcane pings, because you're putting cards back into your deck naturally when playing Arcane Barrier. But it becomes interesting because a lot of those sequences, if they don't have more Arcane Barrier or more arcane damage than what's being presented for your equipment suite, sometimes you just go -2 on blocks and it feels a little bad. So it's very much on you to have the experience and the heuristics to fatigue the Runeblade player. And I think that Aurora, kind of alluding to this Everfest Viscerai style without Skeleta or Sonata Arcanics, is probably more fatigable than previous iterations of Runeblade. Now, that being said, there are a lot of scary on damage effects. And so, like, one bad block could potentially spiral your game.
Yeah, it sure can. I mean, some of these cards are really interesting. I mean, like, I think when Enki was on, we were talking a lot about Tempestuous Kiss.
Yes.
And, that's just one of them, right? So, yeah, it's like... I think Lightning, because of the nature of how fast those kind of heroes go, it's always going to be a little bit skill testing, because it could spiral, right? Like a ball of lightning or something. But
you feel the sting of sorcery.
Yeah, the sting of sorcery. Well, guess what, folks? You won't be having to worry about a snowball anytime soon, according to LSS. Sorry to all the Ice fans. You can blame. No, you can't blame anybody. That's except LSS. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, so I would rank out of the 3 new heroes for Riptide, I want to run into Aurora, then Ziggy, then Acilio, and we'll throw Lexi in there too for the hopefuls out there.
You missed one though.
Who are we missing?
Hala.
Oh, Hala, yeah, come on. That matchup is it's freer than a Slurpee on 7-Eleven. I'll tell you that. It's I think it's very favorable unless I'm missing something.
I think it can be. If the Hala has any sort of fatigue package in their sideboard, though, it gets a little scary.
Mm-hmm.
So I would look to see a Hala maybe have some sort of switchboarding, kind of like old school Dory did, where they switch between or not old school Dory, but like Hatchet Dory, where they switch between hatchets and then they bring in Dawnblade specifically for the Dromai matchup. So any
Mm-hmm.
match where they're just like, I can't win this by doing my normal thing, I'm just going to bring in some weapon that doesn't give itself go again, doesn't turn on any of the stuff, and move on from there. Plus, the attack queue thing is a little strange.
Yeah, that's new. I read the article briefly, and I wasn't ready to talk about it. But yeah, we got a rules update where things that will just say attack and it goes into the queue. I think the first time they dipped their toes into it was the Emperor. Basically, you go search for Command and Conquer and attack with it, right? So, yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think Hollow's very. I mean, I play, the grindy, make warriors miserable.
Sometimes the game is just CNC.
Yeah. You're just like, oh, it's CNC. All right, trench. Oh, you couldn't do that with your spring tunic, could you? Didn't think so. Well, anyway, one last dig at the tunic truthers out there. But anyway, we got some listener questions, Jesse. Surely they're all going to be normal, as the buds normally are. First,
normal, you say.
Greg, aka Darth Prentice. First ask, is Riptide finally S tier? And obviously always has been, not finally. And then also, do you think New Aurora will play Sigil Voltaris in CC?
I'm going to answer the second question first.
Yeah.
Yes. Now I'm going to answer the first question. Riptide will never be S tier because the moment LSS lets Riptide be S tier, no one is going to enjoy the game.
Yeah. You have, it would take pretty much all the bad matchups to leave the format. Right? It was just and for the good matchups, it can feel very miserable. I've seen the light out of my opponent's eyes drain from them, and that's why I play.
Yeah.
Just
collapsing trap. Watch your opponent die inside. It's the printed text.
Yeah, collapsing trap. Collapsing trap, and then also the unsuspecting pitfall trap.
Yep.
Oh, they can't bolt me. Next question comes from Capolo, who asked, which character on Wraith would you want to go on a vacation with? What would be the highlight?
This one's interesting. I think the heroes of Wraith all fall into a very weird mindset where I think our idea of fun might be a little different. But objectively, I think the correct answer is Victor Goldbane, because that vacation is going to be paid for by his father, and finances will be infinite, and we can do whatever we want. And money. He does have the Singapore beach art promo, so clearly he likes to have some fun and get out there. So I think Victor is the correct choice to just go do shenanigans across the world.
Yeah, but then you're there and you're like, oh, he brought Lyeth. Oh, there goes the whole vacation.
Yeah, but that's fine. It's fine. Where's my brother? I don't know. I lost him somewhere in an alley.
Yeah. Oh, look down. Oh, he's right there.
Shit.
Maximum 43, who just joined the Discord, by the way, asked, what do you believe Kasai stands to gain from Mastery Pack Warrior, seeing as though she appears in the trailer twice, but is not one of the crack shuffle play heroes? And why is it going to be a copper payoff for Silver Age?
So Maximum 43 is actually one of my local judges. His name's Quinn. He is a very big Kasai fan, and he plays that deck very well. And I think his Kasai deck is actually max rarity, like truly max rarity
Whoa.
in every slot, like double gold foil sabers, uh, like to the nines, like the shiniest Kasai deck you ever will see.
Do they have the Kasai Command and Conquers if they play them?
I think he does.
Oh my god.
I want to say he either has the full playset or he has one of each of the Command and Conquers, like one
Mhm.
Kasai one Fable one from Dynasty or whatever that's cold foil, and then whatever the other there. I know there's another one, but there's like another very sought after printing of Command and Conquer. But to answer his question, I think unfortunately we have to talk about it, Tommy. I'm sorry. The attack queue thing, I think there's going to be a lot of interesting effects like that in Mastery Pack Warrior that I don't know if this is how it's going to be ruled, but Quinn's the judge. He can maybe correct me if I'm wrong when the cards come out. But if you give the sword go again and then put an attack queue, put an attack from like an attack reaction into the queue, and the sword itself has go again, not the attack from the sword off of something like Blood on Our Hands,
Mm-hmm.
does the attack queued sword get go again?
Hmm.
And maybe like stack up on action points somehow that way. I think that would be maybe something that could buff Kasai a little bit. And then I don't actually think it's going to be a copper payoff in Silver Age. Call me crazy, but I think they want to move away from the combo style Kasai in the 20 health format. It would be like giving Bolton Lumina combo in the 20 health format. I don't think they want that.
Come on. Bolt needs something. It's
He
not
already
even.
got his weapon. What more he need?
Yeah. Should be interesting. I would like to see Kasai get stuff. I don't know if Kasai's going to last in CC that long. I feel like she's close, maybe, if I'm not mistaken. But it's going to be interesting. The attack stuff, I have to look into it. Honestly, I'm gonna have to have Josh back on, Josh Scott on, because like that might just be the way I learn it. And
Can I title the episode "Attack Q for Dummies"?
yes, wait, cut that out. Somebody else is gonna use it. But yeah, thanks for the question. Thanks for joining the Discord, Maximum. Next question comes from William, friend of the pod, Tablespoon. I just read William's new name on the in the Discord. Odds of LSS printing us a way to play an attack on an opponent's turn.
Isn't that just blocking?
Yeah, right.
It's just blocking is just 3 go again on the opponent's turn, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like that. It's just always blocked.
Well, in Riptide it is because it's I block with 3 go again and then you take a damage.
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah. It's a 0 for 4.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, Riptide is the hero that attacks on your opponent's turn, as well as anybody with access to Stormstriders, Sigil Suffering, and the Shunts, and then Reckless Swing,
Yep.
but mostly Riptide. Speaking of Reckless Swing, Sigma Chaos Brute asks, how much do you think Fab is still underexplored when it comes to brewing and creating decks that aren't just about the immediate card value?
So I actually like that Sigma asked this question. So for those who are unfamiliar with who Sigma is one of the main proprietors of the Medax Rhinar build that's been going around. I've played that deck. The deck's a lot of fun. And I really like that he asked this question because I think that most of the Fab player base gets way too caught up in the math of cards in a vacuum and gets way too caught up in value. Like there are people who will just argue to death that this is bad value or this is good value or this other card's better value or things like that without actually like playing the cards and testing with the cards, and they'll just look you dead in the eyes and say, no, I want to play Reaping Blade over Starfall because Reaping Blade says 3 and Starfall only says 2, not accounting for like the synergy or the ability to go again or anything like that. And I definitely think a big chunk of the Fab player base is stuck in that cycle, and most of those people aren't going to level up until they can kind of break the shackles of fab math and move forward. Now, fab math is always going to dictate the game at some degree because it is a very math heavy game. But at some point, you have to realize that just because the math on the card looks bad in a vacuum doesn't necessarily mean the card's unplayable or is actually bad, because it could be doing something very specific for your deck or your list or your hero that kind of holds the game plan together or ties it together or moves the needle a certain amount of percentage points from the sideboard.
Couldn't agree more. Like, I feel like a lot of times, especially like coming up on a set review next week, right? You know, I'm going to try to look at those cards and think about, whoa, this would be really cool if we could do this. Like, it's always just, you want to, like, yeah, in the end of the day, you're right. The math's going to dictate a lot. But, like, sometimes the cool thing is cool enough to, like, change the way the game works, right? And that's important to kind of realize. I mean, Sigma knows that Medex deck is fun. It is fun. And it's very feast or famine. But, like, feast or famine's pretty good, I think, you know? Because sometimes you get a feast out of it. Sometimes.
Yeah. A savage feast. Even.
A savage feast, yeah. But, Jesse, it's been a lot of fun. Love chatting with you, my friend. Happy that you're doing content now. Happy that you agreed to come back on the show. Can you please tell everybody, first of all, where to find your channel and also everything else where they can find you? And thank you again.
Yeah, anytime. I'm always happy to come on and chat with you, Tommy. I think you're one of my better friends as far as the fab content creator space goes. I think we chat a lot, as you said earlier. And you can find my content on Tome of the York Knight on YouTube. And then you can get access to me anytime you want at the York Knight on pretty much all the social media platforms, X, Blue Sky, Discord. Same across the board. I make it real easy. I don't hide anywhere. So that way, in case I say anything stupid, you can, raise your pitchforks.
Yeah, we'll be raising them, Listen, I know how you feel about Intoxicating Shot. We've talked about it.
Yeah, the card's bad.
It's the best I've ever played. It's the best blue. I swear, it's better than Wrecker Romp. But yeah, please do check it out. Over there, everybody. You can all continue to find me mostly on Blue Sky at freshbudspod. Check out the Buds Discord. Fresh Juice indie game podcast I do with my cousin every week. We just played an awesome game called Blackjack roguelike story elements. It's a lot of fun. And YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, and also Patreon. Check that out as well. It's all in the show notes below. Finally, Jesse, let's talk about some food, as I always like to do. I forgot
about this one.
Yeah. Is there any food you want to, if you're craving right now, or you want to shout out, looking forward to having?
Yes, I have been craving takoyaki for what feels like infinite amount of time, basically since I didn't get to Yokohama. And there's an all-you-can-eat sushi place in Manchester called Kisaki Asian Cuisine that I'm really trying to get back to, trying to find some way to get there, because right now I'm not able to drive because of medical stuff. And I will just eat infinite takoyaki when I get there.
And listen, if we have the chance to have takoyaki together, we're going to do it, my friend. And it's going to be
let's do it. Let's
wonderful. Go. We'll go 1 for 1. We'll see how far we can go.
We'll skip the event. We'll just no fab, only takoyaki.
It'd be like the scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah. But unfortunately, Raiders of the Lost Ark just reminded me I don't have time for Charmer, but I'm sure that I will find time for him. Maybe never. We'll see. Everybody, stay fresh.